This is the Databricks Data Engineer podcast. Everyone talks about what gets you promoted. Nobody names what keeps you flat. By the end of this episode, you'll know the 9 habits that quietly kept mid-level Databricks engineers, and the one move that reliably breaks the ceiling. Here's the shape of it. This one's been rattling around for a while. I keep having the same conversation with mid-level Databricks engineers who can't name why they're stuck. Their work is fine. Their review says solid performer, 3 cycles in a row. And nothing changes. It's not a skill gap. It's a stack of 9 habits that look harmless one at a time and compound into another 3 years at mid. Mid-level is a down escalator. It looks flat. Stand still on it and you feel like solid ground. You're not on solid ground. You're drifting backwards in slow motion. And the performance review is where you find out how far. There's a name for what's pulling you back. I'll call it the mid-level habit stack. So, number 1. Habit 1. The ticket comfort loop. Monday morning stand-up. Your manager drops 3 tickets into the sprint. 1 is scoped and clean, a straightforward, slowly changing dimension fix on a bronze table. 1 is ambiguous, something like, investigate why compute costs jumped in the governance workspace last month. And 1 is a rewrite of a Spark job that's been haunting the team since 2024. Nobody wants to touch it. Which one do you grab? You grab the clean one. You always grab the clean one. Because the clean one has a definition of done. The clean one ships on Friday. The clean one makes the burndown chart look healthy. And the clean one, if you're honest, makes you look competent in front of the whole team before lunch on Tuesday. Here's what that looks like after 6 months. You shipped 40 tickets. Every single one on time. Your velocity is the highest on the team. And your review says, reliable executor of well-defined work. Sound familiar? That's the sentence. Reliable executor of well-defined work. That's the official label for this person will not be promoted to senior this cycle. Because promotion packets don't say executed 40 tickets cleanly. They say define the problem nobody else could define. The ambiguous ticket that you skipped in Sprint 1 was the Senior Engineer Starter Pack. The Spark rewrite nobody wanted was the Senior Engineer Thesis Statement. And you skipped both 40 times in a row because they didn't have acceptance criteria. The fix isn't to work harder, it's to reverse the reflex. Once per sprint, grab the ambiguous one, the one without a definition of done, even if you move it slower, even if you miss the velocity metric. Because scoping unscoped work is the senior skill. The reason you're still mid is that you keep letting somebody else do it for you. Habit 2. The silent fix. Tuesday, 2 a.m. Your phone buzzes. A streaming pipeline is falling behind. Schema drift on an upstream Kafka topic. You log in, patch the watermark, redeploy the job, watch it catch up by 4 a.m., close the ticket at 4:15, and go back to sleep. You tell nobody. Why would you? The job is green. The ticket is closed. The downstream dashboards never showed red. You are a pro. You handled it. 6 months later, you're sitting in your review. Your manager pulls up a slide that says, and I'm paraphrasing every mid-level review I've ever heard summarized. We'd love to see you drive more major incidents to resolution this year. And you stare at that sentence like it came from a different universe. Because you drove 15 major incidents to resolution. Nobody knew about any of them. Here's the problem with the silent fix. Heroism that doesn't leave a footprint doesn't exist on the promotion panel. If your manager only finds out about the incident through the fact that it didn't happen, you lose credit for the fix. The team learns nothing. The runbook doesn't get updated. And you start resenting the quiet version of yourself that never tells anybody. The move is simple. Every fix that takes longer than 30 minutes gets a Slack post in the team channel the next morning. Not, here's what I did, which reads as bragging. Here's what almost happened. Here's what we're changing. And here's the post-mortem doc I'm opening. That last sentence turns a Tuesday night patch into a visible systems improvement with your name on it. Same work, totally different artifact. The next few go faster because once you see the pattern, you don't need the full scene. Stay with me. Habit 3. The notebook graveyard. You spin up a new notebook for every investigation. Personal notebook, scratch notebook, temp investigation, delete later, notebook that you will never delete. By the end of the year, you have 80 notebooks in your user folder that nobody else can find, reuse, or trust. The mid-level move is to spin up. The senior move is to package up. One of those shows up in promotion packets. The other shows up in storage audits. Habit 4. The code review hover. You approve senior PRs with LGTM. You never ask why this pattern and not the other one. You're afraid of looking dumb in a public channel where the staff engineer will see you. So your reviews aren't a contribution to the codebase. They're a signature. You're not a reviewer. You're a notary. Habit 5. The meeting mute. Architecture sync. Platform sync. Roadmap review. You show up. You take notes. You never propose anything. You're a witness to your own team's future. And when the manager writes your review, the only architectural opinion of yours they can cite is the one you had privately to them in a one-on-one, which doesn't count. Habit 6. Stack loyalty. That's not how we do it here. You speak for the status quo. You defend the current workspace setup when somebody junior asks why we do it this way. Congratulations. You've become the team's senior conservative, which is, if you look at it honestly, the same career slot as mid-level forever, with extra steps. Habit 7. The horizontal shuffle. You learned autoloader, Delta Live tables, Unity catalog, Databricks, SQL, and MLflow basics all in the same year. You can describe what each of them does. You can't deep dive any of them. You're a tour guide in a city you never moved to. And in 2026, the industry is shifting to reward people who moved to one neighborhood, not people who can list 5. Habit 8. The polished output trap. You deliver every ticket like it's going on a billboard. Perfect commits. Exhaustive tests. Beautiful docs. For work that should have taken a day and took you 3. You chose craftsmanship over leverage. And here's the uncomfortable part. Your mid-level standard of excellence is the same standard senior engineers hit while also writing 2 architecture proposals. Mid-level excellence is senior mediocrity. Same quality, less leverage. That's 8 ways of standing still on the escalator. Each one feels productive. None of them move you up. One more, and then the reveal. Habit 9. The calendar submit. This one's a little different. It's not a behavior you run. It's a behavior you don't notice. Your calendar is your career, not metaphorically, literally. Open your calendar for last week and count the meetings, the quick syncs, the can you jump on this requests, the office hours, the pairings, the onboarding buddy 30 minutes, the ad hoc Slack to huddle detours. Where did that time actually go? You know what the senior engineers on your team are doing Tuesday afternoon? Nothing that's on your calendar. They said no, or they never got invited because the team has learned they'll say no, and they used that 2-hour block to write the thing that got them noticed. Your calendar is the most honest document about what you're actually optimizing for, and most mid-level calendars are optimized for being maximally available, which sounds like a virtue until you notice that being maximally available is the same thing as being maximally interruptible, and interruptible engineers don't ship the 2-hour artifact that changes how their manager thinks about them. You're probably thinking, but this is my job. People need me. I know, that's the trap. The people who need you will still need you if you block off 3 hours on Tuesday and Thursday. Nothing catches fire. You just stop running habit 9. So, 9 habits. Let me name them again, all in one breath. the ticket comfort loop, the silent fix, the notebook graveyard, the code review hover, the meeting mute, stack loyalty, the horizontal shuffle, the polished output trap, the calendar submit. If I had to bet, 3 of those are running in your work life right now, minimum. And if I lost that bet, I'd bet on 4. Now, the reveal. The 10th thing, the one move that breaks the stack. I promised at the top I would name it, so here it is. It's not a habit to add on top of the other 9. It's the habit that replaces all 9 at once. And it is the single most reliable predictor of mid to senior promotion I've been able to identify. It's this, the unasked for write-up. Once a quarter, you write a document nobody asked you to write, 6 pages, addressed to your manager and the tech lead. It's a cost audit of the governance workspace. Or a deprecation plan for that high-format table nobody wants to touch. Or a migration proposal for moving the bronze layer to autoloader. Or a retro for an incident that happened 3 months ago that nobody wrote up. Or a proposal for how the team should handle Unity catalog lineage for the upcoming compliance review. It's not a ticket. It's not a Jira story. It's not in the sprint. It's a document that exists only because you wrote it, addressed to people who didn't ask, with a recommendation at the end. Here's why this is the one move, and here's why all 9 habits are just different flavors of not doing it. A ticket demonstrates execution. A write-up demonstrates judgment. Tickets prove you can do what you're told. Write-ups prove you can see what nobody else is seeing, and you can tell the team what to do about it. That second thing, that's the entire definition of the seniority jump. Not the technical depth, the independent framing of a problem the team didn't know was a problem yet. Now I want to preempt 2 objections, because I know exactly what you're thinking. Objection 1. I don't have time for a 6-page document. I know. You don't have time because you're running habits 1 through 9. Kill 3 of them this sprint and you'll have 4 hours next week. The time isn't hidden. It's budgeted into the calendar submit. Objection 2. My manager will think I'm overstepping. Your manager has been waiting for somebody on the team to overstep in exactly this way for 18 months. That is the most common quiet complaint I hear from data team managers. Nobody on the team proposes anything, they just execute. Your manager is begging for the write-up. They just can't say it out loud in a one-on-one. You don't need 9 new skills. You need 1 document nobody asked you to write. Do it once this quarter. Put your name on it. Share it with the right 2 people. Watch what happens to your next review. That's the full stack. That's the whole thing. Here's what I want you to sit with on the commute home. Which 3 of the 9 ran in your last sprint? Be honest. And what's the unasked for document you would write this Thursday afternoon if you blocked 3 hours and committed to it? Not as a promotion tactic, as a category shift. Mid-level isn't a waiting room you graduate from by showing up for enough cycles. It's a posture. The floor isn't stuck. You're standing still on a down escalator, and you can step off it anytime you decide to. The engineer who gets promoted next year and the engineer who's still mid 3 years from now are not separated by IQ, tenure, or luck. It's 1 document, written once a quarter, addressed to the right 2 people, signed. If this one landed, send it to another mid-level Databricks engineer who's been wondering what's going on. See you next time.